Well, howdy folks, it's Josh the Trucker here. It is colder than Eskimo Wiener in Antarctica. It's 9 degrees. I don't know about y'all, but that's pretty daggone cold for me. Anywho, just want to give a tip on, just like I made a video before, but you know, whenever it's this cold, definitely need anti-gel fuel treatment in your diesel. Also, it's best to leave your vehicle running in this kind of temperature, because even certain treatments doesn't do good when it gets to a certain degree. Another good tip too, if you're learning or whatnot, you'll figure this part out. But if you're new to trucking and you got your CDLs and you're doing your thing now and you haven't gone through a winter, whenever you shut down, do not pull out your trailer brakes in the winter. When you first get your trailer, do your tug test, your normal routine. But instead of doing a tug test every time you stop, you're going to have to get out and you're going to have to look. Because this temperature is very, very common that when you let all that air out and your brake chambers lock onto your trailer and then you try to re-engage it, it'll freeze up. So you'll push it in and you're like, oh heck, it ain't releasing. And I've also seen people go down the road where one side releases, the other side don't, or one brake chamber, and then their brake pads locked up and you just see the smoke, and then you end up getting hot brakes catching a fire. That's definitely something to keep in mind, especially in this kind of temperature. Also, pay attention to your airlines, because your hoses get, your Gladian hoses, your emergency and release, and your service brake. The hoses, when this weather gets fragile, sometimes they're so stiff and you hit it, like shatter like glass sometimes, or have a crack. So you always be mindful and keep your air gauge in mind throughout the times you're checking your speed and looking at the instrument panel. The reason being, you don't want to be going down the road and having a leak in a hose and then you lose all air pressure. You're going to come up to a freaking stop in a hurry, more so than you would like. I'll tell you a story. I was team driving. I was with CR England back then. I was going to Sacramento, California, and I was going to Laredo, Texas. It wasn't winter time. And this is important of keeping an eye on your air type of situation. Anyways, we'd boogieing on down the road, like hauling ass, shitting into getting it, full 62 mile an hour as we've governed. And it was a 2-lane road, one way and then the opposite way, and there was no shoulder, and there was a truck in front of me. He hit his brakes, I slowed down a little bit, he kind of swerved, and then there's another car coming, and I'm like, oh shit, he must be drunk. Nope, there's a freaking deer laying on the road that I thought was dead. Assuming, and you know what assume is, that make an ass out of you and me. Well, that daggone thing lifted its head up as I'm cradling it, trying to get it in the middle, and as I do, with his head, I was like, oh shit, and hit him. He hit something in the back of the truck with the air tank. Immediately I seen my air pressure gauge start going pretty quick. And you only have very little time to react when you're losing air pressure like that. luckily just 10 feet. There was a little pull-off area on the shoulder. I was able to get into that and called breakdown, and he had a part of his hair in the skull stuck on my air tank, and he didn't just rip the hose, he broke the fitting, so the fitting was still inside of the air tank. So when the guy came out to fix everything, he had everything to fix it except for the fitting that we needed. And when you're out in certain areas like we were, it's hours and hours away. I mean, it's like 100 miles, nothing, absolutely nothing. So we waited about 2-3 hours for him to get there, and then he had to go back, so it was another 2 hours, and then for him to get there, and another 2 hours for him to get back. So our day was shot. Long story short, keep your eye on the pressure gauge. Same as your speeding, your speedometer. Just pretend like your air thing is like a cop. You know, you see a cop, what do? You see how fast you're going, so you know if you're going to get pulled over or not. Well, keep an eye on that air pressure gauge. Because if not, you're going to get pulled over real quick when the brakes lock up on you. Anyways, if y'all like these little stories, just let me know, and I think we'll have a powwow more often. Anyways, we're leaving Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, headed to Milton, New York, over towards Syracuse. And the more we go, the colder it gets. Anyways, bundle up, stay warm, and I'll see y'all on the next one.